Hey team, today we are going to wrap up our themes chart notes for ancient India. So if you don't already have that out, please pause the video and get that out. You can open it on a separate tab. And if you want, you can even minimize both screens so you can see them at the same time, but I'll let you guys figure that out. We are going to finish up the notes and I'm going to project what you guys should have in your themes chart. All right, so I'm going to share my screen. Here we are. Okay, so I'm under ancient India. Make sure you're in the right section. So far, we have geography, innovations, and belief systems. So we are going to get to economy, government, and social structure today. As I said, maybe you can minimize this YouTube video so that you can see your themes chart in the video at the same time, so you can just jot down what I put up, but I'll let you guys handle that on your own. So let's start with economy. And I'm going to do bullet points, sure, why not? I'm just going to say the social structure, which was the caste system, supported the economy. Subnote, so I hit enter and tab. Each caste satisfied a want/need. Remember, that's what economy is all about, how a society satisfies their wants and needs. They put a social structure in place where every class takes care of a want or need of the economy, whether it was protection or food with the farmers, or even the untouchable class, the Dalits, who had to take care of the unclean jobs, which are necessary for any society. So every caste satisfied a want and need. That's all we're going to put for economy. We're going to see the connections here in a little bit, but I'm just going to keep it simple. Really, what we have done in this unit is focused on the belief system. So we're not going to dive too deep into the economy or government, which is going to come up next. So here we go. Government. I'm going to get bullet points. Cool. All right. The Kshatriya class caste, which were rulers, parentheses, rulers and warriors, led the government and relied heavily on the Brahmin class, caste, which were the teachers and priests. For advice. Okay, the Kshatriya caste led the government and relied heavily on the Brahmin caste. Remember, the Brahmins were higher up in the caste system than the Kshatriyas class, which kind of is a strange way to organize things because we're so used to the ruler being on top. But we're seeing in the caste system in ancient India that wasn't always the case. But with the Kshatriya class, caste, and the Brahmin caste did work together to govern the people. Speaking of, that's going to bring us to a new term. This idea, I did a subnote there, of theocracy. And I'm going to do my equal shift period to get my arrow. Well, what's a theocracy? A theocracy is a type of government system where religion heavily influences government system. So this is a term that I want you to become familiar with, theocracy. Again, a type of government system where religion heavily influences the government system. So we're seeing this, the Brahmin class, the priests that are giving advice to the Kshatriyas, who are the rulers of each of these individual kingdoms and empire. We see this in ancient Egypt as well, and even in Mesopotamia, this idea where the priests are working with the rulers, the monarch, whatever it is, influencing the government system. Here in the United States, we do not have a theocracy. We try to keep religion separate from our government system. We call that the separation of church and state. Even though people in the government do practice religion, they don't let their religion dictate the policies and the laws that they come up with. So we try to keep that separate in the United States, whereas in ancient times, theocracy, the religion and government really work closely together. Cool. I'm going to do another bullet point. So I'm going to hit Shift Tab and back it up. We didn't talk too much about this, but just to give you a general understanding of how all of ancient Egypt was organized, they were organized into many kingdoms of separate central governments. So there's many kingdoms throughout the land that were kind of doing their own thing in terms of government. They had their own rulers, their own Kshatriya caste, their own Brahmin caste, and they were operating separately from each other, certainly trading and working together, but there was all these separate kingdoms until eventually these kingdoms were brought together under one empire. We haven't really talked about what an empire is, so let's define that. Equal, shift, period. What's an empire? An empire is a large group of territories ruled by a single leader. So eventually, all of these kingdoms are brought into one empire where one person was in charge of all of ancient India. And that's what an empire is. A lot of territory, a lot of land that's under control of one person, one monarch. And that's what we're seeing in ancient India. Not going to dive too deep into this. Again, the focus of this unit was the belief systems. So we're going to cover these idea of empires and governments later this year, or maybe even next year in 7th grade. Cool. We got economy and government, and we're going to move on to social structure. We know that the social structure was the caste system. And I have copied and pasted this from prior note. So I'm just going to enter that in, and I want you guys to copy this down and make sure we've got the main ideas of the caste system with the Brahmins, the Kshatriyas, the Vaisyas, the Sudras, and the Dalits, and what job they had within the caste system. Okay, that's all I got for you guys when it comes to the theme notes. Feel free to pause this, rewind, watch all this stuff again, but you need to have all of these notes down: economy, government, and social structure. You should have all the rest of the sections filled in. If you don't, you can get those from a friend, but I will leave it at that. And thanks for watching.